One, go. Good morning, dear students. Welcome to your video conference for Multicultural Context. Today is April the 22nd, and we're going to continue with the topic of language and gender. Last class, we were talking about hybrids or interlanguages, which I think was an interesting topic because it's real about learning languages, so it's really ideal and practical for you. Today we're going to revise language and gender. This is in order to understand that English has enriched the vocabulary and expressions through years by evolution of some words. So this topic of language and gender has to do with that, with the reality of using English and also with the evolution of languages. Well, the first activity we have here is male word or female word. Here on the list, we have different words. So we have words that are related to people, right? I want you to tell me in the chat which words you consider are male and which words you consider are female words, right? For example, the first word on the list is top model. You know, the top model is, the person who goes on the runway and is taking photographs, things like that. So do you think the top model is a male word or a female word? Well, I see many of you already connected. I have Sergio, Paula, Juliet, Himeji, Lady Karen is also connected, and Alexandra just joined. So tell me in the chat, do you think top model is male word or female word? Then we have politician. When you hear the word politician, do you associate it with a male word or a female word? Then we have housekeeper, housekeeper. Then we have nurse, one profession. Then we have a vampire. Well, the vampire is not a job, it's not a profession, but it's like a mythic character, right? Then we have hairstylist, which is a job. Another job we have on the list is secretary. Then we have doctor. After that, we have footballer, the job. And finally, we have sex worker. Well, Juliet said male word for what? Well, please specify in the chat which word you are referring. So you write, for example, Juliet, you say politician, male word, or you say housekeeper, male word, right? So I know what word you are referring to. So I'm waiting for your answers in the chat window to tell me. You can select one or two or three words and you tell me according to what you hear the word or when you think about the word, do you associate it with male words or female words? Come on, don't be shy. Give me your answers in the chat. Well, we have the case of the politician. Do you think the politician is a male word or a female word? Also the nurse, the vampire, the hairstylist. Is it a male word or female word? Well, we have contribution from Juliet Jimena again. Juliet says politician, vampire, and doctor are male words. Alejandra says secretary is female word. So you associate it with female. Alexandra Garavito says, I think that hairstylist is a female word because the majority of people who work in that are women. Okay, so you give an explanation on that. Dana, sorry, I was misreading. Dana Peraza says nurse is a female word. Alexandra says hairstylist. Okay, making the correction of hairstylist. Paula says nurse associated with female word. Okay, what about vampire? You know that vampires are famous in movies and books like Twilight or Dracula, or well, these movies about vampires. So when you hear the word vampire, do you associate it with male or female words? ¿Quién más dice? Tell it to the chat. Tell it to the chat window. Well, we also have footballer, sex worker. You haven't given the opinion about that, so I'm waiting for this. Alexandra says, vampire, you associated with male. Yeah, because the translation in Spanish, you say vampiro. You don't usually say vampira, but you usually say vampiro. So maybe the association is usually male. ¿Quién más dice? Paula Perez says, sex worker is for both. Okay, no distinction on that. Vampire, Juan Juan Juan. Juliet Jimenez says hairstylist is a female word. Ah, okay, you make the association of hairstylist with a female. What about doctor and footballer? Do you think doctor, footballer are female words or male words? Well, Alexandra Garavito goes back to the one of the first words, that is housekeeper, and she says housekeeper, female, and sad face. You know, the association of housekeeper is usually about the woman or the wife who is always working in the house. But well, today during the quarantine, everybody can be a housekeeper, right? Paula Perez says, although most are related to women. Okay, about which? Alexandra Garavito says, footballer, male, and doctor too. Yeah, so you usually associate footballers with male jobs or male representatives. ¿Quién más dijo? Any other? Well, basically we covered all of the words. So you try to associate if they are male words or female words. Now we're going to learn some of the transformations or changes that English vocabulary has had in the last decades. Now, guys, we're going to focus on these questions if you agree or disagree. The first sentence is, it is important to differentiate the person's gender, male or female, in English. In English sentences by using the pronouns he or she and not a general pronoun they. So do you agree or do you disagree with this sentence? For example, if I'm describing a student, you say, okay, I need a student that is in capacity to say about his or her likes, or when the student is happy, he or she expresses that. Do you think it's important to differentiate this gender in English? Well, Geraldine Gomez has joined the conversation, so welcome, Geraldine. Tell me if you agree or disagree with this first sentence, and maybe the reason you can express why you agree or why you disagree. When using the person's gender in English, that can be male or female, to refer that this student is he or she and not the general pronoun they. So what is your thought about this sentence? Agree or disagree? And if you can say also the reason. What is the reason? Well, as you think about this, we have another sentence to agree or disagree. This sentence is, some jobs and professions are related to the sexist use of language. For example, a prostitute is usually referred as to a woman, whereas a politician usually refers to men. Alexandra Garavito says about the first sentence using the pronouns he or she. Alexandra says, I don't know. I think that depends on the context. Well, basically, the context could be when you are describing the performance of a person, let's say a student. Well, a student has the capacity to say if he or she likes mathematics, right? So if I am describing a person, a student, should I be specific and say he or she or just the general they, right? This is the question to think about. About the second sentence, do you think that some jobs and professions are related to men or women, as in the example? A prostitute is usually referred as to a woman, and politician is usually referred to a man. So what do you think about this? Well, Gina Alzate joined the session. Also, Michael has joined the session. So, welcome to this. We're in the second sentence, and you tell me if you agree or disagree with these sentences. Come on, don't be shy. Tell us the story, tell us the opinion. Well, Daniela Bonello has also entered the room. Well, guys, we have a third sentence here. English language is a constant reference of male gender or masculine. For example, God and his creation, progress of mankind, or a fisherman, for example, the job fisherman. Do you agree or disagree with this sentence that English is a constant reference of male gender? What do you think? What do you say? Well, time is running. So these sentences have the purpose of making you think and reflect about the use of gender, male or female genders in English. And we give these three examples on sentences to reflect. Paula Perez says it's true. Okay. Alexandra Garavito says, I think this is due to the history that has passed between women and men. Okay, so Alexandra Garavito relates the association of some jobs to history. Right. Well, after this warm up, that was the initial activity, we continue with the very topic or the specific topic that is language and gender. So I introduce you to the topic. A lot of vocabulary changes have been introduced in language as a result of the feminist movement and the intensified awareness of the sexist nature of some words in English vocabulary. This author, that is David Crystal, he's a linguist, in the Cambridge Encyclopedia of the English language he writes. David Crystal is an author that is very popular for writing some studies and conclusions about English language. So here we have what he wrote. Attention has been focused on the replacement of male words with a generic meaning by neutral items. For example, the words chairman becoming chair or chairperson, thought not without controversy, or salesman in the past becoming sales assistant in the present. In some cases, such as job descriptions, the use of sexually neutral language has become a legal requirement. So this also, the transformation of language becomes a legal requirement. This is continuing debate or the discussion between extremists and moderates as too far such revisions should go, whether they should affect traditional idioms such as man in the street, el hombre de la calle, this is an idiom, and Neanderthal man, that is like hombre prehistórico, hombre primitivo, the Neanderthal man, or apply to parts of words where the male meaning of man is no longer dominant, such as manhandle. The meaning of manhandle is fuerza de trabajo o fuerza laboral, and woman. The vocabulary of marital status has also been affected with the introduction of miss as a neutral alternative to miss or Mrs., right? Michael asks a question in the chat. How can you refer to women to work in politics then? Well, that is an interesting question. In general, when you say that the person works in politics, he or she is a politician. But then you can say the specific title for the politician. For example, when you say alcalde is the mayor, the mayor like Peñalosa, our ex-mayor. But if you are referring to the present person, that is Claudia Lopez, you use the distinction in female that is mayoress, alcaldesa. So in answer to your question, Michael, the general title for the person is a politician. But then, according to the charge, there are some distinctions like major or majoress in some cases, but not in all of them. President is president, right? For both genders. Now, niños, here we have the interesting examples of non-sexist variations of vocabulary. So this is what has happened in English language through the last 30 or 20 years. The older usage was the past usage of the word, and the current usage is now how people use the vocabulary now. In the past, people say spokesman, referring to the man. Now, in the current usage, they say spokesperson. Remember that this meaning, spokesperson, is vocero or vocera. So it's the person who speaks in the name of an organization or a representative, el vocero, spokesperson. The second job is fireman. So this was the old use. Today, people prefer to say firefighter for this job, firefighter. In the past, the word was male nurse, or maybe female nurse. But today is more generic. People say just nurse. So you can say, my mother is a nurse or my brother is a nurse. So it's for both genders. The older use was to man as a verb, and the meaning was to work or to produce. For example, when you say to man a company, to make the company produce. The current usage is to staff, so it's more generic. In the past, people used to say man hours, which was very sexist. But now the current use is working hours, right? Also, we had the case of air hostess, that is aeromoza. So that was the name in the past, aeromoza, air hostess. But today, the current use is flight attendant, auxiliar de vuelo, which is more generic. Then we have cleaning lady. That was the person who cleans offices or schools or universities. So it was sexist because it was just determining the women. But today people say a cleaner. So you can say Jose is a cleaner or Maria is a cleaner. In the past, people said foreman, which included the sexist part for men, only for the men. But today, people say supervisor. So you can say she or he is a supervisor. Michael says, I like aeromoza. Yeah, here in Colombia, in the past, people used to say aeromoza. Yo recuerdo que cuando era niño, en la infancia, era una palabra común decir ella es aeromoza y era una profesión o un oficio tipificado para las mujeres. Uno no veía auxiliares de vuelo masculinos, sino aeromosas. Hoy día, ya cuando ustedes vuelan en aviones, ven que el auxiliar de vuelo, flight attendant, puede ser hombre o mujer. Entonces, el mismo cambio de las profesiones ha hecho cambiar el vocabulario o el cambio en los roles. Then we have manpower. So in the past, people said the manpower department. So what is the current use? Now people say the human resources department. That is more generic. And finally, the older usage was mankind. Mankind. The current usage, people prefer to say is human race. Human race, right? Mankind and human race. Now we continue. We have the common usage versus the alternative use that is more inclusive. Other examples are anchorman or anchor person. This is anclero o la persona que arroja el ancla del barco cuando llega el barco hacia el puerto. Quien arroja el ancla es el anclero. Entonces, el antiguo uso era anchorman, only for man. But now it can be for both, so you say anchor person. Businessman was in the past, but in the present you can say my sister is a business owner, business owner. A congressman. Sobre la pregunta de Michael, Michael decía que entonces cómo nos referimos a los políticos. Yo les decía que es en general politician, ¿no? Entonces, he or she is a politician, Pero ya en los cargos, les decía entonces, por ejemplo, para Claudio López, ella es de mayores. Para don Peñalosa, ex major, right? Acá hay otro ejemplo para congresista. Common usage is congressman, but the alternative use is a representative. Representative. Bueno, este ejemplo ya lo hemos visto. Fireman versus firefighter. Similar with policeman. In the past, this profession was very sexist and it was only for men. But now you know that police officers can be men and women. So you can say they are police officers. And finally, for other political words, you said statesman in the past. Now the word can be diplomat or political leader. Political leader. So these are some examples of transformations in vocabulary. Now the question, niños, the question is, do you agree with the use of more neutral words such as business person, firefighter, or police officer when referring to people's jobs? This is one reflection question. Do you agree with these neutral words? Tell me your answers in the chat. I'm waiting for your answers. Sergio Corredor says, yes, it's better. Yes, it's better. Who else has an opinion? So you can, with using more neutral words, maybe you don't have these contradictions of language and representation of words. ¿Quién más dice? Okay, that is the reflection question. Paula Perez says positive, agree. Okay, so Paula agrees with this, with the use of neutral words. Okay, guys, now we continue with words related to gender. Okay. Paula, was. Why are you laughing, Paula? On the left, we have the words. So we have some adjectives or we have some nouns. So we have adjectives and nouns. In the middle, we have the meaning and the comment. And on the left, we have an example, right? So pay attention to these examples of words we have. The first words are male or female. They are used for gender classification in biology. For example, we say male bees, female bees, or male dogs and female dogs. Michael dice, yeah, it's better as make language more neutral and equal. Okay, nice. The second set of words we have is masculine and feminine. They refer to having qualities felt to be typically male or female. So you say, for example, masculine pride or feminine charm. That is encanto femenino, feminine charm. Alexandra Garavito says, yes, because of the feminists. Okay, yes, the feminism in language. Gina Alzate says, yes, because women have always been dull. And it's positive to include this and even more in the business world, where women have now more and more recognition. Correct. Machete al machote, says Michael. Well, I didn't know that expression. The third expressions or words we have are manly and womanly. They are having positive qualities felt to be typically male or female. Example, manly strength, that is fuerza masculina, or womanly grace, gracia femenina. So they are used as adjectives. Seguimos. The next word is virile. Virile is manly, usually used in a sexual context. In the sexual context is virile. For example, handsome and virile men. Then we have effeminate, that is an adjective. Effeminate is resembling a woman, used of men in a negative way. So you say, for example, his effeminate walk. Then we have the other adjective that is mannish. Mannish equals resembling a man. This is used of women and it has a negative connotation. So we say, for example, her mannish haircut. Then we have a tomboy. A tomboy is a young girl who behaves and dresses like a boy. For example, you say she's a real tomboy. So it's a combination of tomboy to say that a woman behaves like a man. What are you saying? Hey, don't laugh. Well, don't kid, don't joke around. Then we have a ZZ. A ZZ was a classic expression. It was more in the 90s or the 80s. But now the word is a little misused. It's not very used today, but in the past it was more popular. So a sissy is a boy who behaves like a girl or a weak and cowardly person. That is informal and is a negative description. For example, when you say he's such a sissy. And the final word is butch. Butch is used of men and women, is aggressively masculine, and in looks and behavior. It's always used in an informal way. The example, butch stars of cowboy films. Butch stars of cowboy films. ¿Qué más dicen acá? Okay, more people are joining the session. So these are examples of words using the male or the female connotations. Reflection, guys. We have 4 questions, so I want you to give your opinions about these questions and you type a number. In the chat, you say, okay, number 1, opinion, number 2, and the opinions, right? So I want to read you the first question, why do you think there are words of non-sexist language introduced in English language? Second question, how would you explain the sentence? Male words with a generic meaning. So what is the meaning of this sentence? Male words with a generic meaning. Third question, do you think there are people who oppose to the use of generic words? For example, police officer, firefighter, or business person? Do you think that some people oppose to these words? Another question for reflection is there a real distinction between the use of Miss and Mrs. in our culture? For example, in Colombia, when we are talking about Colombian culture, do you think there is a real distinction between señorita and señora? Remember that Miss is for señorita and Mrs. is for señora. Siéntese, señora. So I leave you a minute to answer these questions and then we continue with the explanation. Go. Cállese, señora. Lol. Well, I want to read your opinion. So you choose a question, 1, 2, 3, or 4, and then you write your opinion on that. The use of language and gender is the topic of today. Y dice, okay. Tatiana says, well, it's nice to read Tatiana. So hello, Tatiana. She says, I think that some words are acquired by solecism when shared with foreigners in different contexts. Okay, so we can think about the context and the way you use those words according to the context in using them. What's the name of the song? The name of the song is Silent Morning. Silent Morning. Okay, niños, I want to read your answers for other questions, for questions 2 or 3 and 4. So take your time for typing. Sergio says, for number 1, for the inclusion of all. Why do you think there are words of non-sexist language? Okay, so the explanation of Sergio is for the inclusion of both genders in the use of language. All right. What do you think about question 3? Do you think there are people who oppose or disagree with the use of generic words like firefighter, police officer, or business person? What do you think? Well, guys, no more answers. Well, for reasons of time, we have to move on. In an ideal context, we would be expressing your thoughts and ideas in group or something. So we have to move on now with the next. Here we go. A modern editor would probably alter these sentences. So how would you change these sentences? Well, before we read this exercise, we have Sergio's opinion and Alejandra's opinion. Sergio says for number 3, yes, because maybe they are more equitable or equal. Okay, so this is about the previous question. Let's go back. Ahora sí se animaron. Okay, okay. So this is Sergio's opinion on number 3. For number 4, is there a distinction between the use of Miss and Mrs. in our culture? Alejandra says, in this question, I think here is not used those words to refer a woman who is married or not, rather than it's a matter of age in women. Correct. When you are 20 or 23 or 24 years old, ladies or girls, you are called Miss, señoritas. But maybe when you are single and you are 50 or 60 years old, you are going to be called señora. So as Alejandra says, it's a matter of age. ¿Quién más dice? Alexandra Garavito also says, Miss, I think there are some women who are bothered by those words. Yeah, for example, a lady or a woman who is 30 or 35 years old, if she's called Mrs. Señora, maybe she's offended. So it can be an offensive word in Colombia. More opinions. Gina says, male words with a generic meaning are these words that offend and the stigmatize, and these are used to generate a negative reaction. Okay, okay, yes. So these words of non-generic meaning can be used to stigmatize and maybe to generate negative reaction. That is interesting. Very good, niños. Now we move on to the next exercise. That is this one. The sentences that we have here have some words that are underlined in red. So remember the vocabulary that we were reading. Now we're going to try to change. How would you change these words to a more generic meaning? So in the chat, you can write number 1, this is the word. Number 2, this is the word, etc., etc. Number 1, 3 firemen helped put out the fire at a disused warehouse last night. So what is a possible change for the word fireman that is more generic? Number 2, a spokesman for the Department of Education provided us with a statement or with a conclusion. Number 3, cleaning lady wanted for house in priority street. So what is the change for cleaning lady? Something more generic. Number 4, the switchboard is continuously manned even during holiday periods. In number 4, manned is used as a verb. So this is a verb in participle form. Number 5, all of our air hostesses are fluent in at least 3 languages. So what is the generic word for air hostesses? Ya lo vimos. Number 6, Miss Jones is in charge of the manpower department of the company. What is the replacement for the word manpower? Number 7, policemen today spend more, policemen is the plural. Policemen today spend more time in cars than on the beat or in the streets. Number 8, Brenda's husband is a male nurse. Male nurse. Number 9, it took a great many man hours to clean up the stadium after the concert. So what is a more generic word for man hours? Next, number 10. This was a great step for mankind. Esta frase, la número 10, fue la que dijo el astronauta Armstrong cuando fueron a la Luna en 1969. Cuando él pisó la Luna e hizo la transmisión de ese evento, él dijo, es un pequeño paso para el hombre, pero un gran paso para la humanidad. This was a great step for mankind. Number 11, the man in the street has little time for such issues. So what is the generic word for that? And number 12, they manhandled the hostage into the van. What do you think is that? Bueno, mientras responden esta en el chat, recuerden que la idea es que pongan el número y la palabra que cambiaría a esas palabras en rojo por unas más genéricas, más, sí, genéricas. Michael says, a ver, Mr. Nea. Michael says, about question 2, that sentence could refer to words that are presented as masculine, but they don't have marked sexist connotation. Okay. Okay, here we have some answers. Camila Arguello says the generic for fireman is firefighter. Very good. For number 2, Himeji says for a spokesman, the generic is spokesperson. Very good. So I leave you to it. I will give you 2 or 3 minutes and then we go with the answers. Go. Oh, well, you made progress. So we have answers for number 2, number 8, number 3, number 10, a kind person, number 11, you say person, not just man, humanity. Well, Michael sends answers for every number from 1 to 6. 1 to 12. Well, Michael actually completed them all. Okay, let me check if we have the answers here. Let me check. Oh no, we don't have them here, but we're going to elicit now from the PowerPoint. Wait, this is a little capricious today. Acá. So we're going to check. Michael, we are flying. Well, Michael, well done. 3 firemen can be replaced for 3 firefighters. Number 2, a spokesman can be referred for a spokesperson. Number 3, cleaning lady can be changed for cleaner. Number 4, a factory or a place that is continuously manned can be, for example, continuously worked or serviced. So you can use a verb that doesn't include man, but worked or service. Or maintained. Number 5, all our air hostesses can be changed for flight attendants. Miss Jones, number 6, in charge of the manpower department, can be changed for human resources department. Dice, number 7, policemen can be changed by police officers, in plural, police officers. Brenda's husband is a nurse, so you can eliminate male and just say that her husband is a nurse. Number 9, It took a great many man hours. You can say, for example, working hours, no man hours, but working hours. Working hours as a noun, right? Working hours. Number 10, mankind, you can say humankind. Humankind is more generic. The man in the street, you can replace it by people in the street or the common, no, the common man would be sexist. You could see maybe the people on the street and you put the plural. People in the street have little time for such issues. And finally, they manhandled the hostage into the van. This is a verb in participle. So you can say, for example, they forced or they obliged, obligaron. Ellos obligaron o forzaron. So this can be the verb that we can use. Okay, niños. Now we're going to see some phrases that are fixed in English. So there are some expressions in English that are not possible to change. Why? Because they are collocations. Chicos, recuerden que este tema en inglés, cuando hablamos de collocations, ¿qué son? Son palabras que por lo general se asocian. Por ejemplo, en español uno dice agua y aceite, azúcar y sal. ¿Qué otro? El rey y la reina, bed and breakfast. Entonces, estas palabras, collocations, son combinaciones de dos palabras que van fijas en inglés y así haya cambios lingüísticos, no van a cambiar muy fácil porque son expresiones fijas. Por eso decimos allí fixed phrases in English. One example is ladies and gentlemen. For example, when you are in a ceremony, your graduation ceremony, the host, the person who presents, will say, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your graduation ceremony. So this is an expression that is not going to change. Another expression that is fixed and is a collocation is boys and girls. So I can tell you, okay, boys and girls in the chat, give me your answers. Another fixed expression is the queen and the king. When we are talking about these titles of royalty, you say the queen and the king. And the other is another popular collocation that is husband and wife. Husband and wife. So we have examples of fixed phrases or expressions in English. Now, niños, this is the reflection for 3 questions. I want you to talk about this in the chat. We have these 3 expressions. Does Spanish use words more generically? Has there been any change to avoid sexual stereotyping? So you think about examples of Spanish when words are more generic. Ya vimos los ejemplos en inglés, entonces que male nurse o female nurse ahora cambió a nurse. Air hostess, que era aeromoza, ahora pasó a flight attendant, que es más genérica. Entonces, si en español tenemos palabras que han cambiado también a un uso más genérico. Number 2, do titles like Mr., Mrs., or Miss in Spanish indicate if the person is single or married? So, do you know the marital status according to the title? Do they tell more about people's status or age? Ya alguien había mencionado en el chat este aspecto de la edad. No sé si fue Alexandra, tal vez. Alexandra nos dijo algo de Miss and Mrs. related to the age. Entonces, confirmamos ese espacio ahí referente al español, ¿no? Aquí en nuestra cultura y el uso del español. Number 3, a grammatical problem is the use of he or she to refer to a person of either sex, de cualquier sexo. For example, a politician has to ignore his family. The politician could be a man or a woman, but it is wrongly assumed that it is a man. How could you rewrite the sentence to avoid linguistic problem or this linguistic problem? Entonces, ¿cómo reescribiríamos esa frase? A politician who is to ignore his family. ¿Cómo podríamos hacer para evitar ese problema de sexismo, sexist? Okay, so I want to read your answers in a couple of minutes. Go. Okay, time. About question two, Michael says, also it's related to marital status. If you haven't been married as a woman, you're usually called señorita. So this is the generic use for lady's title. When she is single, you will say señorita. For a man in Colombia, either if he is married or single, he will be called señor, Mr. Mr. and the last name. So you say Mr. Corredor or Mr. González. ¿Quién más dijo? Nobody else? Well, you are shy today. Okay, as you think about these questions, we have some facts. This is the last part, so we have some facts or, well, some information that is true about language and gender. Many languages specify gender and gender agreement. For example, in Greek and Griego, the masculine andros and gyneka is woman. And for pedi is child. De ahí viene pedagogía. Ginecobstetra o ginecólogo for woman, and andras, andragogía or andropausia for the man. So these are the Greek roots. Number two, for German, we have der Mann. So you know German, so you know der Mann is masculine. Die Frau, el género para masculino, femenino, perdón, die Frau, and das Kind o kind. Ustedes me dirán, chicos, si se pronuncia kind o kind. Das Kind, kind, creo que es cierto, das Kind. Es neutral, el género neutro para el niño, cuando hablamos del niño en general, ¿no? So we have these three genders for German. Der, masculine, die, feminine, or das is neutral for kin, das kin. Y en French, bueno, ustedes ya también saben francés, entonces saben que hay los dos géneros, le homme or leom. Leom or lehom. Leom, masculine, and la femme for feminine. Le and la. Mm, Indo-European had gender distinction. Entonces las lenguas indoeuropeas o el indoeuropeo original, recuerden que el inglés y la mayoría de lenguas europeas vienen de esa familia indoeuropea. Entonces la familia indoeuropea en general tenía o tiene su género distintivo, la distinción de género. Swahili, que es una lengua africana, el Swahili, tiene 16 distinciones de género, 16. Entonces, pues es algo muy interesante de ver porque imagínense un idioma como el Swahili que tenga 16 distinciones de género. Teacher, you scared me. Why? Why, Michael? Why are you scared of me? Now, niños, avoiding sexist language. Instead of these words, you can use the other words because the words on the right are more including or more neutral. A businessman can be changed for business person or business worker, right? It's more generic. A chairman can be changed for chairperson. A fellow worker can be a coworker or colleague. Ese fellow worker es muy anticuado, entonces hoy la gente prefiere decir my coworker or my colleague. Remember the pronunciation is colleague. Fireman, el que ya vimos el ejemplo, firefighter. Foreman, you can use supervisor. For housewife, entonces podemos decir homemaker. Al principio de esta discusión hoy decíamos que si vampire, doctor, que otro footballer eran palabras masculinas o femeninas, entonces ya no podemos decir solamente housewife, sino homemaker. Entonces pueden decir my father is a homemaker or my mother is a homemaker. Then the one is insurance salesman, vendedor de seguros. The generic word is insurance agent o agente de seguros. The landlord or the landlord or landlady can be changed for owner. Recuerden que ese es el arrendatario, ¿no? El arrendatario el arrendador, perdón, el arrendador es landlord o landlady, el dueño de la casa. Entonces el arrendador o arrendadora se puede cambiar por the house owner. He is the house owner. Then we have the mailman, el cartero. Antiguamente, al cartero, al que llevaba pues, los correos, las cartas, siempre era un señor, the mailman. Hoy día pueden decir the mail carrier or the postal worker, ya es más genérico. The newsman was the person for the journalist in the newspaper, so now they say the newscaster or reporter or journalist, that is more generic. The office boy can be used as messenger or office helper. Entonces, antes era más sexista decir office boy, ahora puede ser the messenger or the office helper. Ya vimos the policeman or policewoman cambia a police officer, more inclusive, and the salesman can be salesperson, sales representative, sales associate, o en una tienda, en un almacén, es comúnmente el sales assistant. Okay, so these are the references we have to avoid a sexist language. Ok, this is the chart. Este es el cuadrito que les había presentado yo hace 8 días como trabajo autónomo. Entonces los temas que vemos aquí, incluyendo el de Language and Gender, que está en la letra F, ahí en el cuadro, pues completan este temario del segundo corte. En la clase pasada, que estuvimos el lunes con Akash, que estuvo ahí conectado, vimos Interlanguage or Hybrid English. O no solamente inglés, sino vimos otros ejemplos de lenguas híbridas, ¿no? Entonces ese era el tema D que aparece ahí. Todos los temas que hemos visto aquí entonces de la A a la J son básicamente lo que cubrimos en el segundo corte, ¿cierto? De English Varieties, y ya hoy con este tema de Language and Gender con el que concluimos, ¿no? Entonces, esto nos lleva al primer anuncio. Recuerden que al inicio de esta sesión les dije que tenía dos anuncios. Entonces, el primero es sobre el quiz o parcial, no sé cómo lo llaman, pues en esta contingencia como estamos, pues igual llamamos las cosas por su nombre, ¿no? Un quiz o un parcial es un ejercicio que se abrió ayer ahí en su plataforma de Google Classroom y va a complementar las notas de este corte. Entonces, una nota fue el escrito de Age of Villages, que ya les mandé el feedback, la corrección. Solamente un personaje que no quiero mencionar acá, pero que sé que está online, está acá viendo la clase, un personaje nos mandó el trabajo ayer, anoche. No sé por qué, yo le había mandado un recordatorio por Classroom, que falta la nota, pero no lo había enviado. Igual ya envió el trabajo. Entonces, con eso ya todo mundo completó su trabajo de Age of Villages. El trabajo inicial, que fue el que enviamos cuando empezó la cuarentena, dígalo, profe, no, no lo diré. La persona sabe quién es. El otro trabajo que se asignó fue el de Dialects, el de Brummie and Cockney, que son los dialectos de Birmingham, y el otro de Londres, de West East London, que fue un trabajo tan interesante. Ahí ustedes dan su opinión sobre pues, esos dialectos. Entonces, ahí van dos notas, ¿no? Aún así, pues para este mes casi de trabajo que tuvimos, era necesario hacer una tercera nota como la recapitulación de temas. Por eso, por eso les incluí este quiz online que se abrió el día de ayer. Antes de empezar esta sesión hoy, vi y pues todavía nadie lo ha realizado. Entonces, chicos, también en el Drive, ahí les di en la plataforma, en el tablón de clase, donde aparecen pues como los anuncios de esta clase en Google Classroom. Ayer les actualicé con el link, el enlace del Drive que hemos manejado. Entonces, ¿cuál es la actividad, chicos? Tenemos ese parcial o quiz, como les decía, como lo quieran llamar, que se va a hacer la tercera nota de este corte. Entonces tendríamos la nota de dialectos, el de Cockney and Brummie. El segundo fue el de Age of Villages, que ustedes ya mandaron en su totalidad. Y el tercero, la tercera nota sería esta que les estoy hablando, la de el quiz online, que es de 100 puntos. Como ustedes han visto, estos ejercicios en Google se califican sobre 100 puntos, entonces la totalidad de esas preguntas allí en el quizecito es de 100 puntos. Son preguntas de opción múltiple, entonces es relacionar conceptos, hay algunas que son de unión, ¿no? Entonces relaciona un concepto con una definición, digámoslo así. Otras son de selección múltiple y solo hay una pregunta que es de completar con dos palabras, exactamente. Entonces, dos palabras allí. La fecha límite es este viernes, entonces tienen hoy, mañana y el viernes para hacerlo. Se cierra el viernes y el que lo hizo porque ya el sábado en la mañana debo tener las notas en Arca, ¿no? Entonces, desde ayer yo les puse la notificación ahí en el Google Classroom, ahí salió la actividad ya montada o activa para que ustedes hagan ese parcial. Es un parcial a libro abierto, como lo diríamos en términos de clase, libro abierto. ¿Qué quiere decir? Que pueden consultar las diapositivas, por eso les mandé el enlace del Drive, ¿cierto? Ahí están las diapositivas de los trabajos que hemos hecho de globalización. De globalización hay un par de preguntas, porque es el tema como con el que ya iniciamos este tercer corte prácticamente, pero de globalización hay unas dos o tres preguntas que cubren lo básico sobre este tema que ya cubrimos la semana anterior de globalization. Entonces, también ahí están esas diapositivas para que ustedes miren, ¿no? Bueno, esos eran los anuncios por el lado de Google Classroom. Para la nota del corte, recuerden pues que en ArcaExi ustedes pueden ver la nota del corte y hay pues el requisito que nos pone la coordinación o la dirección de lenguas es que hagan la evaluación docente. Entonces, chicos, también es para anunciarles que desde el viernes 24, el viernes como a mediodía más o menos, se abre la evaluación docente. Entonces, para que entren por favor allí al sistema ARCA y hagan la evaluación docente de sus cursos de alemán, de, bueno, las otras materias que tienen, para que al hacer la evaluación docente les deje conocer la nota el día sábado. ¿Listo? Ese era el segundo anuncio que quería darles. ¿Alguien tiene algo que decir? Si alguien tiene alguna pregunta o inquietud, abran el micrófono y les escuchamos. ¿Listo? ¿Quién dijo? Mi pirisin histi. Hmm.
Profe, ¿me
Entonces,
escucha?
digan, chicos. Sí, te escucho.
Es que yo iba a abrir el parcial y me decía que tenía que contactarme con el administrador, o sea, usted, yo creo.
Sí, sí.
Es que no me abre.
Ups, ¿cuándo hiciste el intento?
Anoche dice, pero ya le lo que hice.
Ok. Bueno, esa es una buena, ¿qué? Nota o un buen comentario porque me hace ver entonces sobre la disponibilidad del quiz. Ahí yo lo había dejado dispuesto desde ayer a las 3 para que abriera. Entonces voy a mirar igual la configuración. Yo voy a estar igual conectado acá muy pendiente y por el correo Exi me dicen cualquier novedad. Entonces ahorita mismo que acabemos esta sesión voy a mirar porque supuestamente quedó disponible con el link para que todo el que abra el link pueda hacerlo. Entonces, como les digo, es un quiz o un parcial de libro abierto, en este caso, pues presentaciones o diapositivas que ustedes tengan para utilizar, ¿no?
Dice que ponerse en
Eh,
contacto con el propietario del formulario.
Ok, sí, ese parcial fue hecho con los formularios Google, como cuando ustedes responden una encuesta, digámoslo así normalmente. Pero pues bueno, según bien la configuración había quedado listo para compartir, entonces ya mismo miro eso. Eso querría decir que de aquí a mediodía, a mediodía de hoy, ya lo tendrían ahora sí disponible y lo van trabajando así. Entonces repasan la información de las diapositivas, lo que hemos visto. También están los enlaces de estas videoconferencias pues les quedaría un poco más largo de ver porque cada videoconferencia es de 50 minutos o una hora, entonces sería un poco difícil así, pero por lo menos van a tener el recurso de las diapositivas para que repasen los temas mientras van viendo su parcial. ¿Listo? ¿Qué más dijeron? Esto es todo, ¿no, chicos? Entonces nos veríamos el lunes ya para la sesión del otro tema que vamos a seguir viendo. Y cualquier duda, entonces me van diciendo por el correo EXI de cualquier inquietud que tengan, ¿no? La nota que sale en Google, en el tablero de Google de calificaciones, es sobre 100. Recuerden que ese puntaje es sobre 100. Si digamos le queda este corte en, no sé, 86. Eso querría decir que en arca va a ser un 4-3. Entonces siempre se va a dividir en dos esa nota. ¿Listo? Bye chicos. Ya entonces este es el cierre de la sesión. Dejamos hasta acá Y sobre el quiz me dicen cualquier novedad que tengan. Recuerden que se cierra el viernes 24 a medianoche. Es el plazo máximo que hay. ¿Listo? Bye. See you. Chao, chao. Thanks, teacher. Okay, bye. Start